Hello everyone, this is Sydney, and welcome to my reading log for October of 2024, the spooky month. I'm going to start off with some of the series I don't have a lot of releases from, starting with my three Kuma series. We have Quelia Under the Snow. This came out a while ago. I finally got around to picking it up because I missed the release somehow. This was an enjoyable read. It's not my favorite Kuma release, to be honest. The relationship was okay. It definitely waited until like the very end to fully establish. It's a decent read. I don't know if I'd reread it again. Next, we've got Spread Your Wings and Fly by Yamada No. This is another Kuma release. On the contrary, I really liked this one. The story was very compelling and the romance was good in it. I would definitely read this again. Next, we've got Wolfpack by a name that I'm probably going to mess up, which is Billy Bolly Bally. I probably said that wrong. I haven't really given the premise for each of these so far. All of these are BL romances or yaoi romances. I'm not going to go back over the other two because I forgot to do it and I do not want to go back. Wolfpack is essentially like two alphas of a pack have to get married to each other because, minor spoiler for the first chapter, one of the alpha's sister has died, so he has to take her place. So these two end up marrying each other, and then we get to see how their relationship unfolds and how an underlying mystery in the... I don't know. No, I wouldn't even say it's a mystery. We get to see how their relationship unfolds and how it affects the environment around them. And also, they're cute wolf boys. It's a really good read. I very much enjoyed it. I might have enjoyed it more than Spread Your Wings and Fly, but I'm not sure. Next, we've got The Call of Cthulhu by Go Tanabe, my only Dark Horse release for the month. This is an adaptation of the popular Call of Cthulhu novel by H.P. Lovecraft. This is probably one of my favorite Go Tanabe works. I've read Mountains of Madness and Brain is Not Working. I've read a couple other H.P. Lovecraft works. All of them are good. All the Go Tanabe adaptations of them are good. I think this was my favorite. The monsters are really good. The dialogue's not too heavy, and the lore is very interesting to read about. Next, we've got my only Tokyo Pop release, which is If My Favorite Pop Idol Made It to the Budokan, I Would Die, Volume 8. Don't remember too many specifics about this one. We're definitely getting a lot more inter-group relationship drama and seeing how the relationship works with several members of the group and several members of different other groups. We're seeing a lot more of the idols than we are seeing of the main character at this point, which is, honestly, it's not a bad thing. I definitely enjoy reading it every time I read it, even if I have a hard time differentiating all the idols from each other because there's so many to keep in mind. Next, we've got my only Inklore release with My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999, Volume 3. And this is still where the anime was. This picked up right after they met up at the cafe with all of the guild members. It's a good series. I definitely recommend checking it out. The anime is probably the best way to watch it, in my opinion. The manga is good too, but the anime is longer. Next, we've got Usotoki Rhetoric, Volume 9. And we are getting some mystery slowly unraveled with the character who essentially shares some of Kaneko's... The main character, Kaneko, shares the powers that she has. He used to have them, and we get to learn about his backstory and why he's doing what he's doing, which if you read the back, you would know, but I'm trying to be a bit vague about it, so if you don't want to get spoiled, you won't be. It's enjoyable. I'm not a huge fan of it personally. I've fallen off on it a little bit lately, but we'll see how it concludes the next volume. Then we've got Mobsters in Love, Volume 2. They are still not together, but there's definitely some jealousy and hints of the relationship starting to form. And it's just cute old man yaoi. I say old man, but they're like 30s. Maybe I think the other one's in his 40s, maybe. They're not old, they're just like uncle types. Next, we've got Cherry Magic, Volume 12, my only Square Enix release. Nope, I have two other Square Enix releases. I caught myself there. don't remember too many things about this. Oh, yes. We have some relationship issues happening between the two of them due to trying to focus on work and not being able to prioritize their relationship happening. Good series. Enjoyed the volume. Decent amount. Then we've got The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl, Volume 7. And we are still there. The main couple still is not together, unfortunately. But it really seems like they keep almost getting there, but they're just not quite there. It's a real fun, cute read, though. Next, we've got Tomorrow the Birds by Osamu Tezuka, my only Ablaze manga for this month. Very mixed on this. I think the plot and the concepts that happen in this series, in this collection, is very interesting and well written, but there is a chapter that I would honestly, I don't think you're missing out on much by just skipping. It's a very much a product of its time chapter that feels really gross to read now. I don't think it's inherently trying to be evil, but it definitely reflects the views of the time, so just be warned if you plan to read this, that there is a chapter that's very not great, in my opinion. Especially, specifically talking about slaves. I think it's, no, I don't think it's slaves, I think it's during segregation, after slavery was ended, and depictions of POCs as, you know, the way they were stereotyped to be predicted, so, or to be portrayed. Blech. Anyways, lighter note, we have Ninja Saratobi Sasuke by only New York Reading Comics, I think. I think that's the name of the publisher. Yeah, New York Review Comics. It's a weird gag comedy set with the historical ninja Saratobi Sasuke in his adventure through, I guess, just living his life, just going on a journey. I think the best thing this series has for it is its art. It's very avant-garde and very playful, but personally, I don't see myself ever reading it again. It's something that I feel like the humor is very, very much you like it or you just can't stand it. And it kind of bored me reading it, but I kind of expected it to be not my cup of tea. It was just something I wanted to, like, experience the humor of that time and how different it was. I had my own nitpick about it, where they're like, it seems like the translator has been adapting these references made in the original work to more modern day references, and for some god-awful reason, in my opinion at least, one of the references was changed to reference Baby Shark, which just so took me out of the story, like completely just cut off any immersion and any interest so hard. Like, that's just a personal thing. I'm probably going to be selling this or just like trading it in or something. It really wasn't for me personally. But on a note of something I did like, we have Otaku Vampire's Love Bite Volume 1. This is a series by Julieta Suzuki. Julieta Suzuki, yes. The creator of Kami-sama Kiss, duh. Kami-sama Kiss, and there's another series of hers that I'm collecting. I can't remember the name of. Very cute series about a girl who's a vampire and an otaku who is finally living out on her own and meets up with this guy who, through happenstances, she ends up kind of developing they're not in a relationship, but developing a friendship with, and he kind of puts up with her, and she basically has him to help her with a lot of things she does in her daily life. I think it's a really fun series so far. I'm excited to read the next volume. Next, we've got My Hero Academia, Volume 39. We have more of the fight continuing. I did really enjoy how Toga's fight concluded in this volume. I think that's probably like a good standout in this series because the last few volumes have been a bit of a dredge for me to get through. But I did enjoy that fight particularly. It's pretty late in like the war arc, so I don't want to spoil too much of what's going on. Then we've got Mission Yazakura Family, Volume 13. We have a lot of lore information dropped in this volume about the I don't remember what her name is. Yeah, we're essentially trying to figure out how to stop something that's happening to the current head of the Yozakura family. There's a lot I would need to explain everything that's going on, but we're essentially visiting where the second head of the Yozakura family used to live, and we're trying to figure out some more parts of the mystery there. I still enjoy this series pretty well. Every volume has a cute illustration of, it's not Cerberus, Goliath on the back, which is always fun. Next, we've got Marriage Toxin, Volume 4. Surprisingly enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. Very much liking all the volumes I've read of it so far, and in this volume we get to meet the female version of Gundam Tanaka, which is interesting. I only say that because of the hamsters. Personality, not at all, but I really do like the plot that happens in this volume, with them basically trying to chase down an assassin and figure out why he's killing all of these family clans, all these clans in the assassin industry. Very interesting read. And then we've got The Goat, Komi Can't Communicate, Volume 31. Summer Festival in this volume. There's really not a lot of like big things that happen in this volume. It's just, it's always just cute, fun, love it, Komi. I don't really have much to say about it. Then we've got Dandadan Volume 9 with a kaiju fight. So, we got kaijus now. Well, it's a seemingly a kaiju. I don't know, maybe it's something else, but kaijus and robots in this volume, which is just fucking crazy. So, very fun read as always. Next, we've got Akane Banashi, Volume 8. We have more of the competition with Akane and all the other Rakugoka trying to compete to... I actually don't remember what they would win if they finished this. But we have Akane deciding her story to tell in this volume, and it's a very... I like the way the story is portrayed, and I like the effects it has on the plot. Still a great series to read, in my opinion. Next, we've got Tamon's B-Side, Volume 5 by Yuki Shiwasu. Actually, I think this is the one that I thought the other series was, where it's something I'm starting to collect, and then this is by them as well. We have, I think we have the final person whose personality is completely different than the way they act, or way they portray themselves. And we have some relationship drama happening, which is fun. We have the main relationship may be deepening soon. We will have to see. Next, we've got a single volume with Takara's Treasure. This is by Minta Suzumaru. They're the author of a lot of BL one-shots that I really very much enjoy. Sorry. Let's see. Yes. Basically, this character is there for the main character in a critical moment of grief, and he moves to the college to try and get close to him, and then we have what happens in the plot from there forward. Like, that's the general premise, is like, he consoled him when he was grieving, and now he wants to meet him and get to know him. I think it was a good, pretty enjoyable BL. Next, we've got Stigmata Love Bites. This one's really odd. Basically, this person with seemingly supernatural abilities where he can channel the spirit of somebody who's recently killed and experience their death. It is a BL romance, and it's only a couple volumes. It's very interesting. I'm not a fan of the art personally, though. Like, the art on the cover is great, but the art in the volume, there's just like a lot of weird... It's just oddly drawn, in my opinion, so it kind of takes me out a little bit. Then we have got the big fancy Red River Omnibus, volumes 1 to 3, series about a girl who falls in a well. Nope, that's kind of similar to that. A series about a girl who is pulled underwater and emerges in, what is the name of the area? Emerges in ancient Anatolia, and is essentially embroiled in a political assassination and political... Is it political assassination? Essentially gets embroiled in political things that are happening in the kingdom. It's a very, very good read. I would very much recommend a lot of people to try it. Even if romance isn't your thing, I would say this isn't super heavy on romance, and it's definitely a good gateway if you want to try and get into the shoujo genre, because this is a fantastic shoujo. Next, we've got Rainbow Days, Volume 12. We have the confession that's working out in this volume, and we get to see the aftermath of that, and really not much else I can think of after that. And I can't really talk about that because the confession would spoil what's happening in the series. Like I mentioned before, I'm not a fan of how the relationships are progressing, so that's kind of putting me off a lot. Finally, next we've got Blade of the Moon Princess. Blade of the Moon Princess Volume 5, and this is by the author of Spy Family, Tatsuya Endo. We have everything wrapping up in this volume. It does feel a little bit rushed, in my opinion. It seems like they just threw all the backstories together in this final volume and threw all the pieces together, and we're just all right, great, it's done. But it was an enjoyable ending, I think. It's not my favorite series by Endo, but I think it's good overall. This is out of order with all the other things, but I've also got The Guy She Was Interested In Wasn't a Guy at All by Sumiko Arai. This is a series about a gyaru. I don't know if she's a gyaru or just very fashionable, falling for a guy that works at this music store who is just very suave, very cool looking, and they bond over their mutual taste of music, only to find out that she's actually the person she thought was a guy was actually another girl who's actually in the same class as her. And we get a lot of interesting music references in this volume. I love when they reference real things that I can go back and look at and get a feeling for the situation. This is a fantastic fantastic green Yuri, as a lot of people seem to call it. I'm really curious how the story is going to go from this point forward, because it seems like, I don't know if it's going to be a slow burn or if it's going to be they're right into the relationship, but very good read. The art's also really pretty. All right. Let's continue with some Viz with Fist of the North Star, Volume 14. We are continuing the arc on the island where they are trying to essentially fight. Yes, they're trying to fight the leaders of this island, who are very, very powerful. We have a lot of things happening that explain more of the lore of the power system a little bit more, not super in detail. But I think I'm enjoying the second half of Fist of the North Star a lot more than the first half, personally. Next, we've got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, Volume 6. This is Part 6, Volume 6. We have the... Gosh, I don't even know how to describe the plot without spoiling it. The saddest localization thing they had to do, which was removing the reference to "It's not Disney without fucking Mickey Mouse." It's just no, they don't say it that way, but they essentially change it to "It's not that place without the mouse," which, kind of expecting it, but I was definitely looking forward to maybe they could do it. But yeah, a lot of post-Prison Break fights starting, and new powers introduced, new characters introduced, a character lost, which just sucks because it's a character I really liked, but I knew it was coming because I read ahead years ago. Next, we've got My Name is Shingo, Volume 3. We finally have the resolution to the jumping off a building plot hanger at the end of the previous volume, which I was super glad to finally figure out, because that was just driving me insane. Very, very much enjoy this series. This is probably my favorite Umez series so far, and I am just very torn up that he died. Not maybe a week or two before this video was filmed, and I was starting to get into his work, and I think he was a fantastic writer, and he's really going to be missed in the industry. Next up, we've got Dracula, Midnight Children, Volume 3 by Shinichi Sakamoto. I don't know why I got his name completely wrong. We have the introduction of the titular character in this volume, of our first time really seeing Dracula in grand scale, and it's gloriously flamboyant. Of course, the art is fantastic in the series, and the story is just really compelling. So excited to read more of it. Then we've got Snowball Earth Volume 3 with a crap ton of kaiju fights in this volume. Everybody's fighting everybody. We are getting the mall invasion kind of resolved, or getting close to being resolved in this volume. Pretty damn good series. Didn't expect it to enjoy it as much as I do. Then we've got Steel the Celestial Shadows Volume 4. We have some backstory for one of the villains introduced in this volume. No, we have backstory for one of the villains. Wow, villains is not a word. We have the backstory for one of the villains talked about in this volume. I very, very much enjoy this series. I think it's fantastically drawn, and the writing is really compelling. I love the power system, and I think more people need to be checking this out. Next, we've got Magilumia, Magical Girls Inc., Volume 4. We get to meet the inventor of the brooms in this volume, and we get to kind of onboard a temporary new employee to the company, learn more about how an outsider views the company, how they're seen by other people, and the Magilumia, I don't know if the company's called Magilumia. Their company's essentially getting hugely viral because of the stunts that happened in the last volume, which is great for their company. Then we've got Insomniacs After School, Volume 7. We are finishing the school trip arc in this volume. A school trip as in, not even a school trip, just a trip with the two of them. And we are getting the aftermath of that, which can't really describe without spoiling a bit of what's happening in the plot. I think we're getting close to the point the anime left off. I think the art in this series is really, really wonderful. The story just hasn't compelled me as much as I wanted it to, but I think I still enjoy reading it. Next, we've got Boys Abyss, Volume 7. Just more crazy stuff happening in every volume with this series. I kind of don't want to talk about it just because I want people to read this and just read it completely fresh, but we have some more explanation behind one of the, I don't know if he was a childhood friend or a kind of bully to the main character. I can't remember exactly, but somebody who's central in the main character's life. We get more backstory on him and his relationship to the main character. Very fun soap opera series. I say fun as in depressing and sad and gritty, but very interesting. Then we've got the final volume of Correspondence from the End of the Universe, which finishes off the term that the main character was serving as somebody who develops planets. Personally, I really like this series for the first few volumes, and then by I think maybe the third or fourth volume, something completely shifted in the story, and it just kind of really, really, really took me out, and I didn't like the way the story was being told from then on forward. So unfortunately, I've kind of fallen out of love a lot with this series, and I'm probably going to end up selling it. It might be worth giving a shot if you're into hard sci-fi. It's a bit of a hard sci-fi, even if it is cutesy. I say hard as in it's just very specific and descriptive about things. I think that's probably its best trait, is it's just like all these different races and how all these different things function. I just didn't like the story being told, and I think the ending was slightly lackluster in my opinion. Then we've got another final volume with Volume 5 of I'm a Wolf, But My Boss is a Sheep. We have the happily ever after for the main characters, as you can obviously see from the cover. And we get some kind of resolution with some of the other couples in the office. A secret couple, maybe. Good series. It was an enjoyable office rom-com. Cute characters, too, which is always fun. Next up, we've got Volume 2 of Imaginary. It's been a couple years since the first volume. I definitely think I enjoyed this one more. It's better when you don't have all the hype going into it, because for some reason this was a really hyped series from the circles that I've traveled in. But I think it's an enjoyable romance so far. Next, we've got Kageki Shoujo Volume 11, and the auditions are happening in this arc, and we get a lot more character development for all of the students that we get to see so far, and seeing how they portray the different characters, how they portray the story of what is the thing called? Orpheus and Eurydice, which is a modern reinterpretation of the mythos of Orpheus. Still a fantastic series that I'd recommend to several people. We've got another Volume 1 with My Boyfriend is a Dog. Volume 1. This is pretty plain from the cover and the back. This is just a gay romance with a cute dog man and a cute guy. And it's just fun, adorable, goofy humor, and pretty furry, but very, very much worth a read, in my opinion. Very cute. Then we've got Night of the Living Cat 5. We have a bit of a spoiler for what's happening in this volume is a massive raid that the characters have to fight off, and then we get a kind of mystery hinted at with why the raid happened and who was responsible for it, which was cool to learn about. And it's leaving a good cliffhanger. Next, we've got 2 volumes of Royal Tailor Clothier to the Crown, Volumes 1 and 2. I got Volume 2 this month, and I got Volume 1 as well, because I didn't realize it got left off of the release list. This is essentially a series about a human girl in a basically very monster-dominated land, where it's monsters and different species that are non-human, and there's a lot of prejudice against humans, and she's working to become she's essentially working to become a tailor in the court, like the royal court. She's very skilled at her job, and it's a very cute, good series with some drama because of the racism that's affecting her. Very much recommended, though. I do enjoy it a lot. I like the tailoring and sewing sort of series. Then we've got World Ends Salte Volume 3. It's been a long time since the last one, and we've got more exploration into the, I almost want to say Forbidden Zone, into the Fiend Realm. Yes, more exploration into there, and some, not really any backstory, but kind of like an adventure in one of the areas, and we get some sad stuff happening in this volume. Still a really interesting read, though. Next, we've got the final volume of Barbarities, which is Volume 4. Very, very good, interesting. I don't know if I'd say medieval, but like fantasy, yaoi BL sort of thing by the creator of Heaven's Design Team. I definitely recommend giving it a read. It is a bit heavy on dialogue, though, and a lot of political stuff that's talked about, so you have to really pay attention, and it's got to take a while to get through. But very much enjoy the series, though, personally. Next, we've got The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again Today, Volume 8. This is one kind of similar to Komi, where it's just cute stuff that happens. We get to have the main character's parents interact with the kitty boy, which is super fun. Always recommend this series. It's such a lighthearted, fun romp. Then we've got Titan's Bride Volume 5, where we're introduced to a new race, and we're introduced to somebody potentially trying to challenge the main character from marrying the Titan. And smut. That's the best way to describe a lot of this series is smut, but it's a very fun read. It's very good. Just make sure you're not underage if you read it. Then we've got Who Made Me a Princess, Volume 7. We are getting very close to the end of this series here. We are dealing more with the potential reason for the king's sudden illness, and we have things that are stirring up that are going to be causing major political issues, and we're going to have the main character trying to deal with them. Very interesting, really good manhwa. Definitely recommend to read it. Next up, we've got A Condition Called Love, Volume 10. This volume we have yes, we have elaboration on the past in this volume, and we also have a confrontation that happens that really, really paints the main male lead in a negative light. So I'm very curious how relationship's going to be treated from this point forward. If that's going to have ripple effects on the relationship or what. Still a really interesting series to read about. Next, we've got Kaina of the Great Snow Sea, Volume 3. I think I enjoy this series more when we're not on the Snow Sea and we're actually like in these different areas. Because I think what I don't like about it is just the fact that it's so hard to tell what's going on in the Snow Sea. But we have, we have them essentially trying to rescue the kidnapped princess in this volume. I don't know if she's a princess. What is she? I think she's a princess. Yes, trying to rescue her and end up traveling to this new location and meeting this whole new type of people. A decent amount of stuff happens in this volume, and I think it's going to be wrapping up in the next one, so I really don't know what's going to happen and finish the series off. Next, we've got Welcome to Demon School, Iramakun, Volume 10. This is finishing off the the Walter Park? Yeah, the Walter Park fight and arc, little mini arc. Love it. Always love Iruma. Never really an exception to that. Always a fun read. Next, we've got Volume 1 of the Spellbook Library by Uta Saki, the creator of Love the Answer. Also, some of the doujinshis I got from a Kickstarter. It's essentially a series about a library full of books that contain monsters and spells in them, and a main character that wants to become a librarian at that library, and essentially is going through the process to become that librarian. It's interesting. It was a bit of a slow start at the beginning for me, but I really got more invested in it the more I read. I think I might recommend it. It's only at 1 volume so far, though, so I don't know how long it's going to last. Next, we've got Witch Hat Atelier Kitchen, Volume 5. Not too much to say about this. I do really love the little Brush Buddy rolls. Those were really cute. But, again, the dishes are kind of just not my favorite still. They seem to be just kind of doing standard dishes, but with a slight fantasy twist on them. The writing's still good, though, for all of the characters. Next, we've got Medalist, Volume 4. And in this volume, we have... I don't want to get it confused with the other one. I think I read another volume of Medalist not this month, but I think it's the next month. But yeah. Trying to essentially... I don't know if she's competing in this volume or not, actually. Let's see. Yeah, no, she's not competing yet. Finishing the preparation for the All Japan Novice A competition in this volume. A lot of interesting details about how that preparation's going, what they're doing for it, all the skills they're training. Writing's still really interesting in this series, and I definitely recommend it to anybody who's mildly interested in it. Next, we've got Nina, the Starry Bride, Volume 6, with pretty major reveal happening in this volume. We've got... Actually, is that the last volume or this volume? Yes, very major reveal happening in this volume, and plot repercussions about something that happened with the Prince Set, I believe is his name. And the beginning of the Golgotha Lion King Festival with a fighting tournament. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff happens in this volume. Very interesting read, though. Next, we've got Opposites Attract, Volume 2. This one's pretty much as it says in the tin, but we do get to meet a cute new dog that is a little Shiba who acts like an old Yakuza boss, who's just so cute, and I love him so much. Her? I don't know. Fun, cute romance. That's really all I have to say about that one. Then we've got Rent a Girlfriend, Volume 27. This volume has a lot of sadness and a lot of progress in how the relationship is going to go with the main characters, which I'm not sure how exactly it's going to go at this point. I still enjoy Rent a Girlfriend. I feel like these last couple volumes have done a lot for kind of reinvigorating the main romance, but we'll have to see how it goes from here to see if it reverts back to a status quo. Next, we've got the first volume of I Cross-Dress for the IRL Meetup, a series about a guy who cross-dresses to attend a meetup with a bunch of girls because they love sweets. And it turns out that I think one or two of the other girls there are cross-dressers as well. And then there's another twist when it turns out that one of the other women there is actually a trans woman. I think that's correct. Let's see. And this is also a romance between two of the cross-dressers at the meetup. Very fun, cute romance. Some comedy in there. I really much enjoyed it. Very much enjoyed it. Next, we've got Volume 3 of The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, the Seinen series. I just want to clarify it's not shoujo or josei because I messed that up before. Let's see. Yes, we have kind of like more of the relationship between the main character and his friends revealed, talked about, and more of the conflict with the appearances happening in this volume. Very much enjoyed it still. It's a great seinen romance. Next is I Got Reincarnated in a BL World of Big Man Boobs, Volume 2. We have potentially some progress in the main couple. I don't know. Just wild, wacky fun. Really interesting, not interesting, really oddball, stupid comedy series with, I think it's just a good read. That's all I have to say about it. It's not much deeper than that. Then we've got the first volume of Beware the Villainess. This is a series about a girl whose name I'm pretty sure is pronounced Melissa Vatabrat, like what a brat, but I don't know. Where she is definitely acting more like a villainess than typically you see in these villainess series. Of course, being conniving and controlling so that she's able to get her way, but she's also very, very reactive, as opposed to like the standard villainesses you see, where there's like some reactivity, but she's very, very vocal and emotive with her face, let's say that. The main plot is essentially, let's see. Yeah, I don't think her bad ending would even be death. It's just, I think she's being cast out. I don't remember exactly what would have happened to her in the previous timeline. It's an isekai villainess, so she is isekai'd into the romance novel. Yeah. Good series so far. Not sure how I'm gonna like it going forward, but we'll see. We got the final volume of Bloody Sweet, which is volume 4. Very interesting, fun romance drama about vampires and witches. Don't want to say too much about what happens in this volume, but I think things wrap up pretty well, and I think a 4-volume series is definitely good for this, and I think it never overstayed its welcome. It was a good series. Next, we've got Kowloon Generic Romance, Volume 8. We have more of the crazy shit with the People A, People B sort of thing. We have more revelations about Kowloon, about who everybody is, that sort of thing. Try to keep it purposefully abstract. Very good, interesting series to read, especially if you like mysteries. Definitely recommend that one. Then we've got Not So Wicked Stepmom, Volume 5, and I'm going to have to double check what happened in this volume. Yes, we have... Yeah, we have... New piano instructor comes to the villa, and he has fairly impure motives for teaching the young girl. I can't really speak too much about what happens in this volume. Not a lot happens. That's kind of the main plot, and then also some stuff with the mirror guy. I still really enjoy this series. It's just one of those where there's not a lot I can really talk about. Then we've got Volume 2 of She Likes Gays, But Not Me, which is just absolutely, like, so drama-filled, and, like, it actually is starting to connect with me a lot more in the second volume. There's a lot of angst and a lot of, like, hard stories that are being told about the main character and the people around them. I think I'd recommend this series, especially since it's only going to be, like, one more volume. but yeah, it's a tough read to get through. Then we've got The Three Body Problem, Volume 1, which is one of the few manhwa I have, which is Chinese manga, or Chinese comics. God, this one's a little weird. It's like scientists who commit suicide, claiming that physics as they know it has been completely wrong, and we're trying to figure out the meaning behind that phrase and why the scientists are committing suicide. I think it's specifically physicists, but let's see. Yeah, prominent physicists. It's trying to figure out that mystery. Interesting so far. I'll have to wait till the next few to see how I really feel. Then we've got Elden Ring, The Road to the Erd Tree, Volume 4. We get to meet Renala, I think. In this volume, we get to see her characterization. I really liked her. I really liked the way they portrayed the sorcerers in the tower. I don't remember this actually ends off. Let's see. Yeah, the Renala stuff was fairly short. But I mean, it's just a fun retelling of the plot of Elden Ring, but in just stupid comedy. I always love reading these. Next, we've got Honey Lemon Soda, Volume 7, where we've got the main character seemingly realizing how she's starting to feel about Lemon Boy, because I don't remember names at all. And we have, I say this so many times this episode, potentially the relationship developing into something more. We'll have to see as the series goes on. I mean, it's a romance series. What do you expect is going to happen? But I mean, yeah, it's still really interesting, fun read, in my opinion. I love the way the characters are written. The art style is really poppy and pretty. Next up, we've got another first volume with I'll Become a Villainess Who Goes Down in History. It seems turning into a highborn baddie makes the prince all the more love-struck. Volume 1. I enjoyed this pretty decently. There's kind of an issue with an age gap seeming sort of thing, with the main character being very young and the other character being in like almost their teens, which is kind of icky in my opinion, but I think I'll have to just kind of look past that. So she's actually a villainess who's trying to act a lot like a villainess and is having a hard conflicting time with that because she's trying to not be cruel, but trying to be villainess-like. She's trying to be like she has like an internal sort of conflict with it a lot in the series from what I've seen so far. Enjoyable read though. Always fun when the villainesses are going straight into their roles. Then we've got Pink and Habanero, Volume 1. Series about a girl who is, let's see, she meets the very hot guy at high school, and it turns out he's kind of an asshole. And she finds out a secret of his, and they kind of start hanging out from there. Let's see. And she's trying to, like, I don't remember exactly what happens, honestly. That's kind of the basic premise, is just like she finds out he has a secret that he wants to hide, and she is getting to know him, learning more about him after that point. I don't remember more specifics besides that. It's really, really good. I just kind of ran through it super fast because it was really enjoyable to me. I definitely recommend it, especially if you like stuff like Maid Sama. Where it's kind of like a mildly similar premise where the girl's working in a maid cafe, but she's also like very strict student council member. Definitely recommend it, even if you are a bit put off by like asshole men in these shoujo romances, because I haven't really been interested in series like that before, but I think this one was really good from what I've read. Next up, we've got Shy, Volume 8, and I think we actually got like potentially something crazy happening in this. Oh no, we almost had something crazy happening. Yeah, we have the finishing of the current arc where they're fighting on top of I think it's the Tokyo Tower. I don't remember exactly. Enjoyable action, good character growth. Really, I think it's a pretty good series. I wouldn't say really good. It's grabbed my attention decently well so far, so I think I'd recommend it mildly. Check out the anime first, though, personally. Finally, we have Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, Volume 3. In this volume, we have I think her name's Anne, right? Yeah. We have Anne going to the castle or one of the I don't know if it's a Duke's castle. Yeah, the Duke of Phylax's castle to essentially enter a contest to, I think she become his personal his personal sugar craftsman, something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. It's either that or she gets a lot of money. So she kind of has to compete in that because since she isn't a sugar apple, oh my god, what's the name? Silver Sugar Master, she's having a hard time making money with her profession so far. So she's trying to compete in that so she can actually make a living of making these treats. Sadly, the next volume is going to be the last one for the manga, so we're not going to see any more of the manga after this, but the light novel's still ongoing, and I really, really hope the anime is going to pick back up with another season, and I can experience it that way, because I don't really read light novels, but I really like this story. Anyways, with that, that is everything that I read in October of 2024. Is a lot more than I usually read, so my voice is very winded, but thanks everybody for watching and all the support y'all give me. Y'all stay good.